Good morning, students. Welcome to our online class. This is your second period, and the subject is political science. Students, today we are going to start a new chapter from book 2, that is Politics in India since Independence. So we are going to start a new chapter, that is Politics in India since Independence, from the book chapter number 3. Chapter number 3. And the chapter name is Parties and the Party System in India. Parties and the Party System in India. Okay. And the following topics we are going to cover in this chapter, that is Congress system, bi-party system, multi-party system, or we can say coalition system. So these topics we are going to cover. I repeat, my students, today in this recorded video class we are going to cover chapter 3, that is Parties and the Party System in India, from book 2, that is Politics in India since Independence. This is the last chapter to complete the syllabus of political science. Now, to teach this chapter, how to teach this chapter, for that purpose the CBSE have given some guidelines, because this chapter name is not like that in your chapter number, book number 3. So book number 2, chapter 3 is not like that. In the textbook you will not find this chapter as it is. With the same title, the chapter is not there in your textbook. Parties and the Party System in India, this chapter is not there in your textbook. That's why CBSE have sent some guidelines to all the schools, to all the teachers who are handling the political science subject in class 12. So according to that guidelines given to us, it was clearly stated. Students, listen carefully. Better if you write down. It is clearly stated that from book 2, from the textbook, book 2, this book, from the textbook, book 2, page number 27 to 32, page number 27 to 32, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, page number 27 up to 32, okay, written 27 to 32, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Next, page number 35, 36, page number 35 and 36. Again page number 38 and 40, page number 38 and 40. Again page number 42 and 43. Okay, I repeat. Page number 27 to 32, page number 35, 36, page number 38, 40, 38 separate, 40 separate. Next one, page number 42 and 43. And page number 83 to 99. Page number 83 to 99. 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, like that up to 99. So these many pages are covered to teach this chapter. Why? Because this chapter is not given in the textbook as it is. So from different pages it was picked and formed into a chapter and given to you. To make it easy, I want to tell you, in this book chapter 2, chapter 5 and chapter 6, or unit 2, unit 5 and unit 6. These three chapters, some pages were combined together and formed into one unit. Unit 2, I mean chapter 2, chapter 5 and chapter 6, all these three units, some pages were combined together and formed into one unit, given the shape of one unit. And one clear instruction was given by the CBSE to all the teachers. What he wrote: teachers have to teach that topic through various contents from unit 2, unit 5 and unit 6, explaining Congress domination, Congress dominance system. Similarly, 1977 Janata Party system, and in 1989 that is coalition system. So all these systems also we need to explain once again. Then only this chapter will be completed. So students, without wasting much time, I am going into the topics. The chapter name is Parties and the Party System in India. And our topics contents which we are going to cover are, that is Congress system, biparty system, multi-party system or coalition system. Clear? Now, students, I want to ask you, what was the first chapter of book 1? What was the, book 2? What this book is there. So in this book, book number 2, what was the first chapter? That is challenges, facing by our India, or I can say challenges of nation building. That was the first chapter, challenge of nation building. That means what are the problems that our nation faced at the time of independence. What are the problems that our country India faced at the time of independence? So challenges facing by our nation, or challenges of nation building. Now listen carefully, students. First topic, that is page number 27 to 32, first page. Here he gave era of one party dominance. Era means what? Age. Era of one party dominance. One single party dominated for a long period. And which party that is? Who is leader of that party? How long it dominated in the Indian politics? That we will read. So era of one party dominance. Now here the first topic is challenge of building democracy. The first topic is challenge of building democracy. Challenge of building democracy. My dear students, you know, when our country got independence, what were the conditions at that time? You know very well. You know very well. You better know what are all the conditions when our country got independence. Unlike other countries, the conditions in which India got independence were entirely different. Unlike other countries, the conditions in which India got independence were different. We faced so many problems: poverty, backwardness, unemployment, refugee problem, so many things. So you know, and you have an idea of the difficult circumstances in which independent India was born. It was born when there were communal problems, religious problems, communal holocaust, communal riots are there. Now, we have read about some challenges in the previous class, challenges of nation building. You have studied some of the challenges, 3-4 challenges which our country faced at the time of independence. When our country got independence, many scholars, many political leaders, or I can say many other leaders, statesmen, they said it is very difficult for India in establishing a democratic form of government. Many leaders of various countries, they gave the statement that it is very difficult to establish a democratic form of government in our country India. Okay, very difficult. Actually, India should first concentrate on its national unity rather than the type of government to be established, the type of system to be established. Several leaders from various countries, they pointed out it is very difficult in India to start to establish a democratic form of government. Rather, the country should concentrate more on the national unity. They also said that if we will establish a democratic form of government, if we are going to establish a democratic form of government, it will lead our country into disintegration. I mean, democracy will definitely lead to disintegration of our country. It will break our country. Like that was the opinion. One more thing, whenever any country got its independence from colonialism, or whenever any colonial country got independence, or whenever any country got independence from their colonial control, then generally they adopt what? A non-democratic form of government. Non-democratic form of government, it may be nominal democracy, it may be a dictatorial form of government, it may be single party rule, it may be direct army rule, etc. Other than democracy. Generally what history tells us that whenever any country got its independence from their colonial masters, so immediately after independence, it was seen that that country has adopted a non-democratic type of government to run their country. Either it may be direct rule or army rule or one-party government or dictatorial rule or nominal democracy, etc. And generally, whenever any non-democratic government is established in any country soon after independence, they promise that initially we are establishing a non-democratic form of government, and soon in the due course, as the time will pass, they will convert that non-democratic country into a democratic form of government. They promises, but they never fulfill the promise. They will promise that in due course they are going to convert this non-democratic government into a democratic government, but they will never fulfill their promise. Okay. They never restore democracy at all. Once a non-democratic government established, it will continue forever. Nobody want to turn that form of government into a democratic form of government. It was seen. History says about that one. Now, the conditions in India were not very different. Our country is also a colonial country. For long time, nearly 190 years, our country was under colonial rule, British colonial rule. Our country was a colonial country. So naturally, people all over the world, political leaders all over the world, they expected that soon after independence, our country is also going to establish a non-democratic order, a non-democratic system in our country, India. But it was not happened. Why? Because when the freedom struggle was going on, against Britishers in India, so in the course of freedom struggle only, most of the Indian leaders, they hoped that if they will get independence, definitely they will establish a democratic form of government, because they liked the democratic form of government, and they thought that it is through democratic form of government they can solve all their problems. I repeat, when the freedom movement, nationalist movement is going on. At the time, most of the Indian leaders, they decided that if they will get independence to our country India, so soon after independence, they will establish a democratic form of government, a democratic form of system in our country India, because they believed that democracy will solve all their problems. The leaders of our country India, they have not seen democracy as a problem. They have not seen democracy as a problem for us. I repeat here, our leaders were conscious of the critical role of politics in a democracy, in any democracy. Our leaders were what? Conscious, we were alert. Our leaders were conscious of the critical role of politics in any democracy. They did not see politics as a problem. Our Indian leaders, they are very much conscious. They are very much conscious what? Of the critical role of politics in what? Any democracy. They also knows that what they knows that politics they have not seen as a problem. They never thought politics is a problem for them. They saw politics will solve all their problems. The leaders of India, they never saw politics as a problem for them, but they saw that politics will solve all their problems. At anyway, what I want to say, the leaders of India after independence, they decided to choose a democratic form of government. But it was criticized by all over the world. All the political leaders, all the leaders of various countries, they said that this government will not survive for a long time because India is a vast country with great diversity. This system leads to disintegration of what? Our country India. So they hoped that one. But it was not happened. It was not happened. We established democracy at the time, and till date, democracy survived in our country India. Or till date, democracy we are having in our country India. Okay, now, last year in class 11th, you have studied about our Indian constitution, framing of constitution. You know, Indian constitution was adopted by the parliament on 26th November 1949. You can underline this date. On 26th November 1949, on 26th November 1949, the Indian constitution was adopted by our parliament. And you know, the time taken to prepare the Indian constitution was 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. I mean nearly 3 years. Nearly 3 years of time is taken. Nearly 3 years of time is taken in order to write, in order to complete, in order to draft our Indian constitution. The drafting committee headed by B.R. Ambedkar, and several other members, they went around various countries, Ireland, Canada, Australia, South Africa, Switzerland, America. Many countries they studied various countries' constitutions. They learned some good features from all those constitutions, and they drafted our Indian constitution. That's why it became very lengthy and took a lot of time. And our constitution is a written constitution. It's very lengthy, but it's a written constitution. So, that constitution, after preparing, the drafting committee put before the parliament, and the parliament adopted on 26th November 1949. Later, it was signed on 24th January 1950. It was adopted in the parliament on 26th November 1949 and signed on 26th January 1950. And finally it came to existence or implemented or came to existence, enacted, came into force on 26th January 1950. So that day we are celebrating as what? That Republic Day. I repeat, Indian Constitution was prepared by drafting committee members headed by B.R. Ambedkar. It took 3 years, 11 months, 18 days, nearly 3 years to frame the Indian Constitution. Our Indian Constitution is the lengthiest and the longest constitution, written constitution. It consists of various features of various constitutions. The drafting committee put before the parliament on 26th November 1949 It was signed by the Parliament on 24th January 1950, and our Indian Constitution came into force, enacted, implemented on 26th January 1950. That day our country became a republican country. In that, before the framing of this constitution, what was there? An interim government was there, and that interim government was headed by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as the Prime Minister. Interim government here means what? A government formed without what? Elections. Interim government, because soon after independence we have no time. We have our own problems. We have no time, we have our own problems. So immediately we can't conduct elections in a big country like India. We have to draw the boundaries. You have to separate first. So that's why one interim government was formed, and that interim government was headed by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And this interim government ruled for nearly from 1947 up to 1952. These many years it ruled. And in 1952 I am telling, the first general elections were held in India. But when 26 January 1950, when our Indian Constitution was implemented, when our country became a republic, then the Constitution initially thought, very soon we will conduct what? Elections. Very soon we will conduct what? Elections. And we will choose our government. They thought like that. They thought that very soon we will conduct elections and we will form the government. Hence, immediately, what happened? The election commission was constituted in 1950. So, on January 1950, Election Commission of India was constituted. Underline that one. Very, very important. When did our election commission was formed? At central level. Central level I am talking about. Today in every state we are having election commission. But central level. So the Election Commission of India was formed on January 1950. And the task given to this election commission is to conduct elections throughout India, central level and also at state level. That is the task of election commission. And it is a statutory body. It's a statutory body, independent body, which is not working under anybody's control. It is a statutory body. Election Commission is a statutory body. And the first Chief Election Commissioner of India, actually there will be one Chief Election Commissioner and two Deputy Chief Election Commissioners will be there. One Chief Election Commissioner and two Deputy Election Commissioners will be there. So the first, when the Election Commission was formed in January 1950, the first Chief Election Commissioner was Sukumar Sen. Sukumar Sen. So Sukumar Sen was the first Chief Election Commissioner of India. Sukumar Sen was the first Chief Election Commissioner of India when it was formed. The country's first general elections were expected sometime in around 1950 itself. So soon after the formation of this election commission, the people of India, they thought that yes, now we will have elections and we will choose our own government. They expected that elections will be held within 1950 itself. They hoped that one. Expecting is nothing wrong, but it should happen in reality. But the election commission discovered that it is not going to be easy to hold a free and fair elections in a country like India, in a vast country like India. Election commission, after its formation in January 1950, the election commission officials, they met together and they thought, is it possible to conduct elections in the same year 1950? They had a debate and discussion, and they come to a conclusion that it is very difficult to conduct the first general elections in India in the same year of 1950, because in India the population is very huge and a very big country. So the election commission found that it is not going to be easy to hold free and fair elections in a country like India's size. Holding an election required delimitation or drawing of boundaries of electoral constituencies. Election Commission thought, without framing the constituencies, without delimiting or drawing the boundaries of all the states, without delimiting all the provinces, how we can, without forming that electoral constituencies, how we can conduct elections? So first of all, what we have to do, we have to delimit or redraw the boundaries of all the provinces and the states. We have to convert them into electoral constituencies. We have to find out how many electoral constituencies are there. Then only we should decide. Now notification, campaigning, symbols, contestants, so many things are there. Okay. It is also required preparing an electoral roll. Yes. In order to conduct elections, first of all you have to prepare an electoral roll. List of voters. Here electoral roll means what? List of voters. What is meant by electoral roll? Here electoral roll means what? List of voters. So first of all you have to make the list of voters in the country. How many voters are there? And how many electoral constituencies are there? For how many constituencies we have to conduct elections? How many voters are there? How many eligible voters are there? What is the age limit for casting a vote? What is the age limit to contest for any ML or MP post? You have to decide all these things. So many issues are there. So it is required to prepare electoral roll or list of what? All the citizens eligible for what? Vote. You have to decide who are eligible for right to vote. What will be the age limit? My dear students, earlier the age limit was 21 years to cast the vote. But today it is what? 18. I repeat, earlier the right to vote, the age was required 21 years. But today it was reduced to 18. And it was reduced by our former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Clear? Now. So both these tasks, one task is what? That creation of electoral constituencies, and second is what? Preparing the voter list. Both these tasks are very big, gigantic. It will take lot of time. Okay. When the first electoral list was prepared, when the first voter list was prepared and published, when it was prepared and published, then it was known that it was discovered that many names were missing. Around 40 lakh women were not recorded in the list. Just imagine. The list was prepared in hurry-burry manner. The list was prepared in a hurry-burry manner. The electoral list, the voter list was prepared in a hurry-burry manner. Hence, nearly 40 lakh women, their names are missing when it was published. Okay. They were simply listed as what? Wife of so-and-so, daughter of so-and-so, like that. And this news brought into the notice of the Election Commission or Chief Election Commissioner. Hence, the Election Commission refused to accept this list. The Election Commission refused to accept that electoral list or voter list which is prepared by the people or the officials of Election Commission, and redirected to prepare once again, and directed the officers once again to prepare the electoral roll. Okay, the Election Commission refused to accept these entries and ordered a revision if possible and deletion of if necessary. You prepare the list properly, add the eligible voters' names, delete those who are not eligible. Okay, preparing for the first general elections was a mammoth exercise. Preparing for the first general elections in India, it's a mammoth exercise. Very, very big exercise, very difficult exercise, impossible to conduct. Many leaders of various countries, they said that it is very, 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 very impossible to conduct elections in India, that is democratic elections in India. A country which was under colonial rule for a long time, a country where there are more number of illiterates are there, a country which is facing so many problems at the time of independence. So in such a country, it is very difficult to conduct the first elections. So conducting elections, first general elections in India is a mammoth exercise. No election on this scale had ever been conducted in the world before. Such a big democratic election have not conducted even before in the world. Such a big election was not yet conducted in the world yet. So that's why people are now having no faith whether this election will be successful or not. because such a wide range of elections, such a big election was not yet conducted in the world even before. Okay, at that time there were only 17 crore eligible voters are there. So how many eligible voters were there at the time of first general elections? 17 crore. This is one of the objective question for you. How many eligible voters were there at the time of first general election? That is 17 crore. And these 17 crore voters have to elect around 3,200 MLAs, member of legislative assemblies. MLA, member of legislative assemblies. So 17 crore people, they have to elect 3,200 MLAs and 489 members of Lok Sabha MPs, member of parliament. 17 crore eligible voters were there as per the election commission list. And these 17 crore voters, eligible voters, have to elect 3,200 MLAs and 489 MPs at the time. And at the time, only 15% of eligible voters are, only 15% of these eligible voters were illiterate. So, literate. 15% out of 17 crore voters, out of 17 crore eligible voters, only 15% are literate. Educated. They know what is what. They know how to cast vote. They can read and write. Just imagine. So, out of 17 crore, only 15% voters are literate, educated. So, in this situation, do you believe that election can be conducted first general election? Nobody will have what? The trust and faith that it will be happen. Okay. Therefore, the election commission had to think for some special method of voting. The election commission had to think a special method. Election commission thought, how it is possible when the number of literates are very less. Then how to conduct elections? So the election commission made a homework. It made a homework. The election commission had to think for a special method of voting. How to vote? The election commission trained over 3 lakh officers. First, the election commission trained 3 lakh officers. The election commission trained 3 lakh officers and polling staff to conduct elections. So training was given. Election commission gave training to 3 lakh officers and polling staff to conduct elections, the first general elections in our country, India. Now, it was not just the size of the country and the electorate that made the election unusual. Why the elections are unusual? Because first time such a big elections is taking place in the world. The world ever seen such a big elections taking place. So it is very unusual because most of the voters are illiterate. Okay. It was not just the size of the country and the electorate that made this election unusual. The first general election was also the first big test democracy in a poor and illiterate country. So it was the first experiment. This first general election was a first experiment of establishing a democracy in a very vast country where majority of the people are illiterate. Majority of the people are illiterate and a very big country. So it was a test whether this democracy will be successful, these elections will be successful or not. I repeat once again. The first general election was also the first big test of democracy in a poor and illiterate country. Our country is a poor country, illiterate country. So it was a test whether it will be successful or not. Till then, democracy had existed only in prosperous countries. So far, democracy was found only in prosperous countries, literate countries, mainly in Europe. All prosperous countries are in Europe and some are in North America, where nearly everyone was literate. Everyone in European country or North America literate. So it is easy to conduct elections in those countries. But our country is a poor country and majority are illiterate. So how to conduct elections? That is the question. But that time many countries in Europe had not given voting rights to all the women. We have studied in class 10th in French Revolution. Earlier in European countries, women were not given right to vote. Only educated class people, only rich people, only taxpayers, rich people, taxpayers, literate people are given right to vote. That's why they are able to conduct elections. Okay, in this context, India's experiment with the universal adult franchise is very difficult. Universal adult franchise, any Indian citizen who is reached the age of 21 years at the time, 21 years, okay, is eligible to right to vote without showing any discrimination based on caste, creed, color, religion, language, sex, etc. At the time 21, today it is what? 18 years. So in India, elections were conducted based on what? Universal adult franchise. Okay, appeared with very bold and risky. It is very difficult to conduct elections. Okay, very conduct elections in India. An Indian editor called it the biggest gamble in history. One Indian editor have called this election as the biggest gamble in the history of in the Indian history. Okay, organizer a magazine wrote that Jawaharlal Nehru would leave to confess the failure. Many people said that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the interim government prime minister at the time, he has to confess before the public that he was failed, like that people thought. Or in the magazines, in the journals, it was published that a day will come when Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru will confess before the people that he is failed. He is failed in conducting what? Elections. Okay. Next one. He has confessed the failure of universal adult franchise in our country, India. A British member of the Indian Civil Service, claimed that a future and more enlightened age will view the astonishment, that absurd force of recording the votes of millions of illiterate people. It is very difficult how to count the votes because many people are illiterate. So many people, they showed that it is impossible to conduct a democratic form elections in a country like India, in a poor country like India, in an illiterate country like India. Everybody said that it is impossible. Okay. The elections had to be postponed twice. See, the elections had to be postponed twice and finally held on October 1951 to February 1952. The elections were postponed twice. But third time it was started on October 1951. Then you said that first general elections were held in 1952. Yes, first October 1951 to February 1952. That means the first general elections were completed in 1952. Okay, so first general elections were started in October 1951 and ended in February 1952. But this election is referred to as 1952 election. See, this election was referred as what? 1952 election. So the first general elections in India were held in the year 1952. Since most parts of the country voted in January 1952, it took 6 months for campaigning. 6 months time was given for campaigning in the elections. Polling and counting to be completed within 6 months. Within 6 months, campaigning, polling and counting. Elections were competitive. There was on an average more than 4 candidates for each seat. For each seat, 4 candidates are contesting. For one seat, 4 contestants are contesting for election at the time. The level of participation was encouraging. More than half the eligible voters turned out to vote on the day of election. Half of the eligible voters, total suppose 100% is there. Out of 100%, nearly 50% of voters, they casted the vote on the day of election. So nearly half of the voters, they casted the vote on the day of election. Okay. When the results were declared, these were accepted as a fair even before the losers. When the elections were happened, counting was held, results were declared. When the results were declared, then even the losers, they accepted that the elections were held in a free and fair manner in our country, India. That means the experiment of universal adult franchise, the testing of democracy in a poor and illiterate country, was successful. Was successful. So with this success, okay, the observers all over the world, they were spellbound. They were spellbound, and they kept silent without any criticism. So TRM topic, students. In the next video, we'll continue some other topics. Till then, take care. Thank you.